Salutations and good morrow everyone, welcome back to another Grounded update video where today I'm hopping in and answering another one of your guys' requests on videos for me to make and for me to go over for all of you guys who have just started playing Grounded or for people who are just getting into Grounded for the new update that's coming out and would like to know what each of the different cards you can find in the game are, as well as the weaknesses and everything that the cards give you for each of the bugs. So we're going to be going through each of them, starting with neutral, going into angry, and then finally going into harmless. So let's go over and let's go through each of them. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to point out that in order to get these cards, you have to actually peep something in the game. In order to peep things in the game, you need to go into peep mode, look at them, and click or press A if you're on Xbox using a controller, and you will actually peep that creature and you will get a creature card. In order to actually go through and get the gold cards, you have a 1% chance of getting a gold card on creature kill every time you've gone through. At least that's my percentage of how I've worked it out. And also, just as another little added bonus, the assistant manager, will get more into him in a second, but this is the only card that you are guaranteed to have a gold card on pickup after killing, as long as you peep him before you defeat him. Okay, let's go through and let's read through these. So the first ones we're going to go through is the neutral cards. So for neutral, you have red ant, the red worker ant, you have the black worker ant, ladybug, bee, firefly, sickly roly-poly, and roly-poly. So let's start with the red worker ant. So its weakness is stabbing and spicy, resistances is none, weak points are its eyes. It says harmless unless attacked. This creature can be found patrolling areas surrounding the oak hill and lives in ant hills, can drop red ant heads and red ant parts on death. The black ant worker, this is one of my gold cards that I was able to get. This is what a gold card looks like. Its weaknesses are stabbing and spicy, the same thing as the red ant. It has a resistance to fresh damage, this one does, and its weak points are once again its eyes. It says a hardier ant that patrols the outer reaches of the yard and lives in the black ant hill and can drop black ant head and black ant hearts on death. All right, ladybugs, here we go. Weaknesses are busting and fresh. Resistances are chopping, stabbing, slashing, salty, and spicy. Its weak points are its legs. This one trundles through the area surrounding the oak hill looking for weevil snacks, can drop lady heads and ladybug heads, oh my lord, and ladybug parts on death. All right, bees, chopping, fresh, and slashing are its weaknesses. Resistances are busting. Its weak points are also its eyes. Also, these weaknesses, guys, if you shoot them with a bow or you can hit them with one of your weapons, you're going to do a lot more damage to them. In fact, most of them you can one-shot if you hit them in their weak spot with certain arrows. Okay, a noble creature that surveys most of the yard looking for nectar and lives at the picnic table, carries pollen, and can drop bee fuzz and a bee stinger on death. This is probably going to end up changing because the beehive is no longer on the picnic table. It is up in the tree. If you guys want to see more on that, check out the channel. I made a video to show you guys where that is. All right, the firefly. Its weakness is stabbing, resistance to busting, and spicy. Hovers and grazes near the flooded zones at night and sleeps in the flower bed during the day. Can drop bioluminescent goop and iridescent scales on death. So that's another fun one. The sickly roly-polies. Okay, these can be found in mostly western grasslands. Weakened by their surroundings, can drop bug goop and roly-poly parts on death. Their weaknesses are busting and spicy. Resistances are chopping, stabbing, fresh, slashing, and salty. All right, and then finally the standard roly-poly. Notice that this one has a weakness where the sickly roly-poly does not. It has the same weaknesses of busting and spicy, resistances, chopping, stabbing, slashing, fresh, and salty. The weak point is its legs, like the ladybug. It says a lumbering behemoth that rolls deep in the upper yard, powerful when provoked, can drop bug goop, roly-poly parts, and roly-poly shells on death. All right, so that's all of our neutral bugs here, guys. One thing I do want to point out, if you go through and you inspect these guys, you can actually turn them around and look at the cards if you guys want to get a better look at the creature. I wish these were animated, but still, nonetheless, still pretty darn cool. Okay, let's go through and let's talk about our angry bugs. I'm first going to list them all off here. You can see that one of them was removed in the update. So we have red soldier ants, black soldier ants, lawn mites, dust mites, larvae, ladybird larvae, ant lions, teas, ruz teas, arkers, assistant manager, we've already talked about him a little bit, mosquito, infected weevil, infected mite, infected ladybug, infected larva, infected gnat, water flea, stink bug, orb weaver junior, diving bell spider, spider leg, wolf spider, infected or broodmother, sorry, termite worker, termite soldier, termite king, bombardier beetle, black ox beetle, ladybird, green shield bug, and infected wolf spiders. Now let's start to go through these. So the red soldier ant, weaknesses, stabbing, spicy, resistances, chopping and slashing, weak point, also its eyes, just like its little worker brethren here. It says angry soldiers with large mandibles that defend turf of the dry grasslands and the various ant hills can drop acid glands, red ant heads, red ant mandibles, and red ant parts on death. Black soldier ants, weaknesses, stabbing and spicing, resistances, chopping, fresh and slashing, weak point, also its eyes, like all the other ants. Guards the areas of the human-made resources and their home. The black ant hill can drop black ant heads, black ant mandibles, and black ant parts on death. The lawn mite, everybody's favorite. Stabbing is its weakness, chopping is its resistance. Small and furry bugs that with a big bite and impressive vertical, found south of the Oak Hill, and drops brilliant red mite fuzz on death. That's pretty cool. That one's pretty fun. The dust mite, its hardier brethren. Weaknesses are stabbing and fresh, resistance to chopping, busting, salty, and spicy. Tiny, aggressive, fiber-dwelling creatures found mostly around the shed, drops dust mite fuzz on death. Larva, everybody's least favorite. Weaknesses, spicy, resistances to chopping. Hostile and tough, roams the areas south of the Oak Hill, can drop acid glands and larva spikes on death. Ladybird larva, the most annoying thing in the upper yard. Weaknesses, stabbing and fresh, resistances, chopping, busting, slashing, and spicy. An extra tough larva built to survive a harsh climate of the barbecue spill and can be found roaming the upper yard, can drop acid glands, bug goop, and bug and larva spikes on death. All right, ant lions here. We have weaknesses of salty and slashing. You can see that they have resistances to chopping, busting, stabbing, fresh, and spicy. This burrowing creature dwells in the dunes of the sandbox, can drop antlion parts and antlion pincers. The Tasty, we're going to go into robots here for a little while if we should. Weaknesses, busting, salty, and spicy. Resistances, chopping, stabbing, slashing. The weak point is its back. So if you could go through and smack these guys in their back, you're going to do more damage. All right, formerly a squad of janitorial and fry cook robot for Robies, this fleet now patrols the science labs of the yard, drops raw science on defeat. All right, let's go over to the Ruz-T now. Weaknesses, busting, salty, spicy, same as its Tasty brethren, except this is a battered inferior version of the Tasty, found patrolling the heights of the hedges. If you look, they both have the exact same artwork. They're just a little bit rustier. All right, so anyway, going on, we have the Archer, the same weaknesses, same resistances, except this one does not have a weak point. This upgraded blasting Tasty fleet controls the Pawn Lab and flows orders back to the Black Ant Hill, drops raw science on defeat. Then we have the Assistant Manager. Now, this is the boss robot, guys. Its weakness is busty, salting, and spicy, resistant to chopping, stabbing, fresh, slashing, and explosives. The chief security of the Black Ant Hill Lab, this middle management robot exists solely to train guards, grunts, and kill intruders. Drops Assistant Manager keycard and raw science on death. All right, now we're getting into my least favorite bug in the game, the most annoying thing possibly added to the backyard until they add something more annoying, but until then it stays the mosquito. Now, we have the weaknesses of chopping, fresh, and slashing, resistances to busting. This is a blood-sucking vulture of the skies near bodies of water, and the woodpile can drop mosquito beaks and mosquito blood sacs on death. All right, let's talk infected stuff for a moment, shall we? So now we have infected weevils. These guys explode. Their weaknesses are fresh, salty, and spicy, resistance, chopping, busting, and stabbing. Irritable, exploding, fungal infected weevil found in areas polluted with haze can drop fungal growth and weevil noses. Infected mites. Their weaknesses are fresh and slashing, resistance to chopping, busting, stabbing, explosive, salty, and spicy. A projectile shooting mite infected by fungus found in areas polluted with haze can drop fungal growth and mite fuzz on death. Infected ladybug, aka, a turret. The weaknesses, busting and fresh. Resistances, chopping, stabbing, slashing, explosive, salty, and spicy. A hostile infected ladybug found in areas polluted with haze can drop fungal growth, ladybug heads, and ladybug parts on death. This thing literally is like a turret that drops bombs on you from the sky. Infected larva, weaknesses, fresh and slashing. You guys notice that all of these are weak to fresh here. Very good information for you guys to remember. All right, so it's resistant to chopping, busting, stabbing, explosive, salty, and spicy. A hostile infected larva found in areas polluted with haze can drop fungal growth, acid glands, and larva spikes on death. And finally, the annoying infected gnat that's actually kind of adorable. It has no weaknesses, it has no resistances. It's a variant of gnat infected by parasitic fungi found in the pockets of the caves that appear across the yard, drops fungal growth, gnat fuzz, and raw gnat meat on death. All right, now we have what is probably the most forgotten enemy in the game, the water flea. The water flea is a ghoulish creature that floats in the bodies of water looking for prey, drops water flea meat on death. The weaknesses are stabbing and salty. The resistances are chopping and fresh. It's resistant to chopping, even though you can't maybe... No, because I guess slashing is what's underwater with daggers, so I don't know why it's resistant to chopping, but, you know, it is what it is. That's the water flea. The stink bug, weakness to stabbing and fresh, resistance to chopping. An invasive species found hanging around the area south and west of the Oak Hill, as well as the flower bed. Watch out for these toxic clouds. They can drop stinking gas bug sacks and stink bug parts on death. Alright, so the Orb Weaver. Weaknesses: spicy, resistances, stabbing, and fresh. A bright yellow and black arachnid that hunts the areas across the yard, can drop spider chunks and web fiber for everyone on death. Then we have the Orb Weaver Juniors, the smaller version of the Orb Weaver. Its weaknesses is spicy, resistance to stabbing, and fresh. This is a nimble and aggressive juvenile arachnid that inhabits the hedge close to mommy, can drop spider chunks and web fiber on death. So this one hangs out with all the bigger Orb Weavers as well. And also, they like to come and attack you whenever fighting this guy here, or this girl here, I should say. All right, let's talk diving bell spiders, the arachnids of the water. All right, so this is a swimming arachnid that weaves silk bubble air pockets beneath the surface of the pond, can drop diving bell spider chunks and web fiber on death. Its weakness to chopping and salty. It's resistant to stabbing and fresh. All right, moving on, we have the tiny itty-bitty spiders that have a weakness to spicy and resistance to stabbing and fresh. That is the spiderling. Angry little baby spiders found wherever adults roam. Drops web fiber on death. Okay, moving on, we have everybody's favorite, the wolf spider. This guy looks pretty cool. I do enjoy its artwork that you can see here. Like I said, I wish these were animated because that'd be even creepier. Look at his little face. Or if I can zoom in and out, that'd be fun too. So this is a ferocious hunter that prowls most of the central and westward zones of the yard. Can drop spider chunks, spider fangs, and spider venom on death. It's weak to chopping, slashing, and spicy. That's why the Coltana is so powerful against these guys and resistant to stabbing and fresh. All right, moving on, we have the first boss that was added to the game with the most health out of anything except for maybe the assistant manager. It says it's weak to slashing and spicy. Coltana is going to do it for you guys on this one as well. All right, now the resistances are chopping, busting, stabbing, fresh, explosive, and salty. Pretty much anything but slashing and spicy. Deep in her lair and summoned by a BLT, the terrifying queen of spiders known as the Broodmother waits for battle. Drops Broodmother chunks, Broodmother fangs, Broodmother venom, and web fiber on death. Another really cool one. I do enjoy this one a lot. All right, so going on here, we have termites, some of the newer things that were added to the yard. We have the termite worker, tough wood-eating bugs found inside the woodpile and termite den, can drop acid glands, bug goop, and termite parts on death. They're weak to stabbing and salty, resistant to fresh, slashing, and spicy. And then we have the soldier, the beefed up version of the termite worker. This is a large wood chopping soldier found protecting the termite den, can drop bug goop, termite parts, and termite chompers on death. Then we have big boy himself, the termite king. Weakness to stabbing and salty, resistant to fresh and slashing. The ruler of the termites, the mighty king, inhabits the inner sanctum of the termite den, drops bug goop, termite chompers, termite king carpus, and termite parts on death. All right, then we have the bombardier beetle. This beetle is a big blasting booty that patrols the southeast area of the yard. A highly volatile boiling gland and bombardier parts can be dropped on death. Its weak point is its big ol' rump, and its weakness to chopping and fresh, resistance to busting. Black ox beetle, another one of the newer creatures that was added to the backyard in the upper yard area. A formidable foe for all of you who have not faced one yet. Throws giant rocks at you. The weakness is busting and salty, resistant to chopping, stabbing, fresh, slashing, and spicy. Its weak point is its gut, so you want to aim low on this guy. A burly foe who roams the land surrounding the shed, can drop black ox horns, black ox parts, and bug goop on death. Right, then we have the Ladybird, a bug that I think should definitely get its own armor set. This one's weakness is busting and fresh, resistance chopping, stabbing, slashing, spicy, and salty. Its weak point is its legs, just like its good old ladybug brethren. Alright, so this is a large, angry bug that roams the area around the shed, can drop bug goop, ladybug heads, and ladybug parts on death. I'm hoping that gets adjusted. Green shield bug, this is another one that's newer to the game, found over by the cap gun area underneath the shed. Alright, its weakness to stabbing and fresh, resistance to chopping. This is like a beefed up version of a stink bug, so be careful when fighting this guy. It says a smelly behemoth that patrols the area surrounding the shed. It can drop bug goop, stink bug parks, and super stink sacks. This needs to be adjusted to green shield bug parts. Anyway, and finally, we have the most scary thing in the game for me to fight right now, and that is the infected wolf spider. The weakness is busting and fresh, resistance, chopping, slashing, stabbing, explosive, salty, and spicy. A massive spider infected by fungus and found in areas polluted with haze, can drop fungal growth and various other spider parts. So that is all of our angry bugs, and finally we're going to move on to our harmless bugs here, guys. I know this video is a little long, but I figured I'd cover this all because this was a request by the community. So harmless bugs, we have the aphid, the weevil, the grub, the gnat, the meaty gnat, the tadpole, the water boatman, and the scarab. So let's start with the aphid. Has no weaknesses, has no resistance. A tiny harmless sausage shaped bug found in regions surrounding the Oak Hill and other grassy areas, becomes raw aphid meat on death. The weevil, once again, no weaknesses, no resistances. A tiny creature that lumbers around the grassy areas of the lumber yard, can drop a raw weevil meat and weevil noses on death. It drops its tiny little snoot. Alright, grubs, which probably everybody's going to have killed hundreds of, and probably going to be one of the most sought after and easiest to get gold cards because of the sheer number of them people are going to be killing. Has no weaknesses, also has no resistances. So a harmless subterranean bug that needs to be unearthed with a shovel, drops grub goop, grub hide, and raw grub meat on death. Then we have the gnat, weaknesses none, resistances none, a annoying but harmless flying pest mainly found around pools of water, drops gnat fuzz and raw gnat meat on death. We have the meaty gnat, a yolked variant of the gnat that thrives on the waste of the trash heap, can drop gnat fuzz and raw gnat meat on death. Once again, no weaknesses. Tadpoles, the adorable little guys that swim around the pond for you guys, hopefully meaning we're going to get a frog in the future. A docile creature that swims in the shallows of the koi pond, drops raw tadpole meat on death. No weakness, no resistance, no killed. Don't plan on it until I want to get my gold card collection. Water boatman, weaknesses and resistances none. A gentle bug that swims gracefully in the koi pond, drops water boatman fins on death, great for soup. And scarab, weaknesses none, resistances none. A harmless little creature that resides in the upper yard, dropping twinkling shells on death. And guys, that is going to do it for all of the cards that are currently in the game. They did remove out the 34th angry creature, probably because it is on the verge of not being added. Could be updated in another version of this update in the public test, guys. But that is all of the cards for right now. Thank you all so much for watching this one. If you guys liked it, hit that like button. If you guys would like me to go through all the Omnit protocols or products, Burgle stuff, Wendell places, all of this kind of stuff that's up here, let me know down in the comments, guys. But I thank all of you so much for watching to the end. Make sure you guys leave me a comment. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, see all of you guys in the next one.